Imagine a library. But the books, they aren't made of paper. The covers aren't cloth or leather. Every single volume, every single page is made of human skin. This isn't a horror movie. This is real. And the story behind it is so much darker than you can possibly imagine. Our story starts not in a dusty library, but in the grimy, overcrowded cities of 19th century France. The air is thick with the smell of industry and poverty. This is the world of the déclassé, the fallen, the desperate, the utterly forgotten. And in this world, a young medical student named Leo is about to make a terrible discovery. Leo isn't a bad guy. He's just hungry. For food, for knowledge, for a way out. He spends his days in the dissection theater, the metallic tang of blood and preservative forever lodged in his throat. The corpses they work on are supposed to be criminals, donated by the state. But one day he recognizes a face. It's a woman. A young woman who sold flowers near his boarding house. She had a laugh that sounded like bells. She was no criminal. His hands tremble as he pulls the sheet back further. He sees the crude, hurried stitches. The callous disregard. This wasn't justice. This was a business. He stumbles out of the theater, vomiting in an alleyway, the truth crashing down on him. The medical schools are so desperate for bodies they're paying for them, no questions asked. And a new, horrifying industry has sprung up to meet the demand, grave robbery. But it's worse than that. So much worse. He follows the money, his medical curiosity twisting into a morbid obsession. He discovers that the resurrectionists, the grave robbers, aren't just stopping at the recently buried. Rumors fly in the taverns they frequent. Whispers of people being taken from the streets. The poor, the sick, the ones no one would miss. They're called the disappeared. And Leo realizes with a sickening jolt that his flower girl didn't die of natural causes. She was murdered for the price her body would fetch on the medical market. He tries to speak out, but he's silenced. The university depends on this supply. The great march of medical science, they tell him, requires sacrifices. The ends justify the means. He's threatened, his own future dangled over a precipice. So he makes a choice. A terrible, Faustian bargain. If he can't stop the machine, he will at least bear witness. He will force the world to see the cost. He begins a project, a secret, gruesome act of rebellion. In the dead of night, in a hidden corner of the laboratory, he starts to preserve the skin. Not from every subject, but from the ones he's sure were victims. The ones with stories still etched on their faces. He develops a method, a special tanning process, to turn their skin into a fine, supple parchment. He becomes an artist of the macabre. And then he begins to write. But not with ink. He inscribes their stories onto the very flesh that once held their lives. He records their names, what he knew of them, where they lived, how he believed they died. The flower seller, a young man who shined shoes on the corner, an old woman who sang for scraps. He binds these horrifying pages into a book. He calls it The Ledger of the Disappeared. This isn't a trophy. It's a funeral service. It's a courtroom. It's a scream into the void. Each book is a monument to a life stolen, a body commodified. He isn't glorifying the horror, he's weaponizing it. He's making the anonymous personal. You can't ignore a name. You can't dismiss a story written on human skin. Years turn into decades. Leo becomes a reclusive, wealthy doctor, the memory of his early life a festering wound. His secret library grows. Dozens of books, then hundreds. Each one a soul, a ghost chained to this world by his guilt and his determination. The collection becomes his life's work, his penance. He builds a hidden room in his mansion, a sanctum of this awful truth. He lives with these ghosts every single day. On his deathbed, an old man haunted by the faces in his books, he makes one final decision. He cannot let his library be destroyed. That would be the final erasure of these people. But he also cannot let it fall into the hands of the curious or the cruel. He writes a final letter, a confession, and a set of instructions. The library is to be sealed, its existence known only to a single trusted lawyer, with one stipulation. It can only be revealed to the public when the world is ready to hear its story without sensationalizing its victims. For over a century, the library remained hidden, a secret buried within the walls of a forgotten estate. That is, until now. The letter was found. The room was unsealed. And the world was finally forced to look at the price tag humanity placed on progress. So what do we do with this? A library of skin. Do we burn it, finally granting these souls the peace of obscurity? Or do we preserve it, forcing every future generation to confront the brutal, uncomfortable, and inhuman cost of their comfort? These aren't hypothetical questions. This collection exists. It's a stain on our history. But it's also a testament. It's the one place in the world where the forgotten were, ironically, remembered in the most shocking way imaginable. This story messes you up, right? It's supposed to. It's the kind of truth that doesn't just make you think, it makes you feel. It crawls under your skin. And if you want to go deeper, if you want to see the full, unflinching documentary that tracks down the last living relatives of the victims and the shocking modern-day implications of this discovery, it's all waiting for you. We've done a full feature-length deep dive. The link is right there at the end of this video. Watch it. But I'm warning you, it will change how you see the world. And if this story hit you, if it matters to you, then do something. Don't let this just be a creepy story you forget in 10 minutes. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. We track down stories like this, the history the world tries to forget, and we bring them to light. Be part of that. Help us remember the forgotten.